Hey everyone, this is Dave here with another video watch on The Broken Dad with Dave Hodge. So this one is by Blue October. The song is Hate Me, but it's not their studio album version that most of you probably know them for. This is their 10th anniversary version. Before I play this one, when I first heard it, this one kind of resonated a little bit more because he put a little more power, more feelings, more emphasis, more everything. Like whatever he was going through, whatever he was feeling, it's like I was able to feel it. And that's what I love about this one. And I hope y'all enjoy this one. Some of y'all may have heard this version, watched the video, but this is their live version of Hate Me, their 10th anniversary. So let's check this out together. Oh, maybe. Technology. Here we go. My apologies.
Hi, Justice is your mother. It is 2:33 on Monday afternoon. I was just calling to see how you were doing. You sounded really uptight last night. It made me a little nervous, well, it made me nervous, but you sounded like you were nervous too. I just want to make sure you are really okay, and just wanted to see if you were checking in on your medication too. You know I love you, and I'm concerned. Take care, honey. I know you're under a lot of pressure. See ya. Bye-bye.
I have to block out thoughts of you so I don't lose my head. They're crawling like a cockroach, leaving babies in my bed, dropping little reels of tape to remind me that I'm alone, and playing movies in my head that make a porno feel like home. And there's a burning in my pride, a nervous bleeding in my brain, and ounce of peace is all I want for you. Will you never call again? And will you never say that you love me, just to put it in my face? And will you never try to reach me? It is I that want to hate me today. Come on, Texas! Hate me tomorrow. Hate me so you can finally see what's good, baby. And I'm sober now for 3 whole months. It's one accomplishment that you helped me with. The one thing that always tore us apart is the one thing I won't touch again. In my sick way I wanna thank you for holding my head up late at night. I was busy waging wars on myself. You were trying to stop the fight. You never doubted my warped opinions on things like suicidal hate. You made me compliment myself when it was way too hard to take. And so I'll drive so fucking far away, I never cross your mind, and do whatever it takes in your heart to leave me. Hate me today. Yeah. Hate me tomorrow. Hate me for all the things I didn't do, baby. Hate me in ways, yeah, ways hard to to me. Hate me today. Hate me tomorrow. Hate me for all the things I didn't do for you. Hate me in ways, yeah, ways hard to swallow. Hate me so you can finally see what's good for you. For you. Oh, for you. For you. For you. Come on. Hate me today. You are so beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Get out of here. Do this. And video. Here we go. All right. So originally this was just gonna be a video. Just about the song, but I think I'll just go ahead and where am I? Episode 6 now? Yeah, I ain't done dropped episode 6, so I think this will be episode 6. So um wow. Um it was 2007 when I first heard this song. It wasn't the first song I've heard from him. The first song was called Into the Ocean. And it took me about a month and a half to figure out who sung that song. I fell in love with them after hearing Into the Ocean, and then I was driving to Kroger's and listening to a alternative radio station one day, and then they played "Hate Me," and I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to pull over on the side of the road, just you know, calibrate my mind of what I just heard and what I was hearing at the moment, you know? And this was 2007. This version took place like 10 years later. This is their 10th anniversary. Now, where are we? This is 2025. Justin Furstenfeld is the lead singer of Blue October. Um, he was struggling with a lot of things, addiction, I guess some bouts of schizophrenia, and some other issues he was dealing with. But and I mean, this song here, there's just something that just speaks to the soul. I mean, and to the heart. Like, and I believe, as a person who loves music, and this, I'm going to do this on another episode about music and how it touches the soul. And I'm going to play clips of various songs that I've, fell in love with over the years that I feel like are must hear songs. But this one here, it not only is a must hear, this one just reaches out to the soul and just grasps you. And it's like, hey, you need to listen to me, like for real. Um, and I loved it, every bit of it. Um, so at the beginning of the song, you hear a woman's voice on a messenger or a voice message, and that was his mom. So that was So if you there's a I'm sorry. Let me start over on this one. So there is an interview with him about that song, about that part. That is his voice recorder or voice machine with his mom's voice on it. Um, Voicemail for that day and age, but he took that recording. So in the video, that's him holding the actual machine with the little cassette tape on it, with his mom checking in on him. Because during that time, during this album, they put him on some pain medications. I guess he did something on stage and broke his leg, and it was a rough time for him. But um, it kind of, with me, the way I interpret it, he's thinking his mom, for this is my interpretation. I'm To this day, I'm still not sure I understand like the real his version of interpretation for the song, but for me, it's like, hey, thank you, mom. You know, even though I've taken advantage of your kindness, but maybe that's just me, and it kind of brings me back to my me and my mom. Everything my mom's done for me, and it's like, did I take advantage of her? Her kindness, her love. You know, and I'll never know. Because it's a I guess I did, because I could hear you know remember hearing the disappointment in her voice, and everything, and then times I don't. um but this is May. Episode I did episode 4 um a few weeks, about a month ago maybe. um and that was a hard one to do, because losing my mom really did something to me. um I'm not gonna go back through all that again, but it's more of a, it's hard. It's just been 3 months without her, and then, like, part of me is like, you should be over this and you should be on, and then the other part of me is like, hey, this is like a very important like piece of you that's just gone. Like, like, you can't do nothing about it. It's just gone. So where am I today, and how am I coping, and how am I moving forward? So let's start with sleep. So let's start with my sleep. My sleep is, I'm working on it. So for the longest time, and I may have talked about this in an earlier episode, I can't remember. Forgive me if I have. My early 20s is actually started in my teens. My was it high school? It was even high school. It was my freshman year. Um, I think it started because I took a newspaper route on the weekends, and this was like in the middle of the night type thing. So we would be at someone's like garage, and put the newspapers in like the plastic bags and everything, and then we'd throw them in the van. And then after we got all the newspapers done, we drive around, town, delivering these newspapers. And we'd probably start like midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, getting them, in their plastic wraps. And I probably wouldn't get home till like 6 in the morning. and I developed an issue to where um I was a night owl. That was my first taste of being a night owl. Yeah, excuse me. Oh. Mm, don't know where that came from. Ooh. But yeah, it was my first taste of being a night owl. Um, and it just spun from there. So my freshman year into my high school days, um, uh, one of my jobs at in my high school, I was working for Myers, and I wouldn't get off work till like 11, maybe get home about midnight, be up at 6, be at school by like 6:45. Um, so I had a Pontiac Firebird at the time, and I had to make sure I was up to pick my girlfriend up because I was driving us to school. Um, so yeah, I didn't get much sleep, and then I worked at the movie theater, Forest Fair Mall, show, Super Saver Cinema, and that was a place to be back in the '90s. Um, there was no sleep at all. Um, 95 to 96, yeah, and it just got my sleep just became non-existent from there. Um, I graduated high school in 1996. My high school sweetheart at the time, Delphina, um, she moved to California to go to UCLA for college at the time. And that broke my heart because I loved her like dearly at that time. I mean, I thought me and her were everything. So, I'd be at the movie theater and I'd work all the hours I can, get in all the hours because I didn't want to, be off work and just, go home. It was like, okay, now what, So either, if I worked like the mornings, if I could get a couple hours overtime, and I did, and I never went home. I just stayed there. I just hung out, watched movies, made friends with my coworkers, or go to the arcade and play video games or the laser tag they had at the time. And that's what I did. Um, and and I feel, you know, as a man, and even as a young man at that time, I was just, I just turned 19, and all this was happening, and I didn't know how to deal with it. At the time, my high school girlfriend was gone. You know, luckily, she, something happened at the college. She moved back with her parents in Virginia. So we're going from California to Virginia now. And I took a 2-week vacation to visit her. I loved every moment of it. But at the same time, it was um, I guess uh, how do you want to say, like, the writing was on the wall type of deal, you know, that things were coming to an end between us because long distance relationships don't really work. And this was one that wasn't working, and I get it. I hated every bit of it. Um, so, I spent 2 weeks with her. Um, I want to say it was like 2.5 months later. we had a conversation. She ended up breaking up with me. And, you know, again, I think that time I was, was it? I was 20. Yeah, I think I was 20 at that time. Still young adult, like very young adult at that time. And 19. Yeah. Um, wow. But yeah, I didn't take it well. But, I didn't sleep. And I think, that's where a lot of my, night owl escapades started, then the video game thing. So, PlayStation released Final Fantasy 7, getting that golden chocobo, which I did. Man, it took me almost a couple weeks, like very little sleep, just to make that accomplishment. Um, but we're talking. This is in my like very beginning of my 20s, like from the age of 19. All right, I'm 47. I'll be 48 June 1st. This is that big of a span of a time frame of me, like, just not giving a damn about sleep, you know? So I want to say, let's see, last year, was it last year? Sometime last year, it dawned on me, hey, you're not getting any younger. It's like your age is like going up. It's not going down. It's not like ceasing, thankfully. Um, I had to start taking care of myself. But let's get back on track here. Um, just I know I went way out of my way about this. So where am I? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So there's a time frame to where I go to bed at 10 at night, and I wake up at 6, and I'm good. I'm good all through the day. No naps, no nothing. So I wake up at 6. I get Leslie up, make sure she's getting herself ready, to catch the bus. I'm eating a breakfast, so I have meal one. So that's a bowl of cereal. So that's meal one, because I want to try to have 3 meals a day. Um, so I have my bowl of cereal. I take a vitamin. Um, and I'm drinking this green tea, which that Vita Cup I presented to y'all last episode, which is doing wonders. Um, and then I'll have lunch, which is meal two, and I'll have dinner, um, which is meal three, and and I'm good with that. And then I'll go all through the day. I keep myself active, and 10 o'clock rolls around, 10:30. I make sure I'm back in bed. Now there has been some time to where like the weekends have been my downfall, because while I can get my sleep on track, the weekend comes, I allow myself to stay up till 12. you know Friday I'll stay up till like 12 midnight. Saturday I'll stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Sunday I'm up to 4 in the morning. And here we are again. Now I've lost track. I've derailed myself. Um and it takes me a whole week to get back on track. So when I say I'm working on it, I'm working on it. Um I'm proud of myself because I am I'm eating 3 meals a day. I am taking a vitamin. I was switched from coffee to green tea, which is done wonders for me. Coffee, has made me like sluggish and drag all through the day. Um, the green tea has just like reawoken something in me. Like, hey, I'm gonna just I'm gonna create a plan. I want to get to it and complete it, and it happens. Something I never been able to do when it was when I was drinking coffee. So definitely love the switch. So that's my sleep. Eating habits, kind of explain that. Because before I wasn't eating at all. One meal a day, and that was just forcing myself to eat. Um, because it was tough. And I hate to go back to this again, but losing my mom. When I say it did something to me, it did something to me. Like, I mean, sleep, my eating habits, everything just like went to hell, and I was just for a while there. I felt like I was on my way out until I had to, take a moment one day and like, hey, your dad needs you. Okay, you're grieving. I get it. Let's get this over with because your dad needs you. Your daughter needs you. So you can't be grieving like this. You can't grieve to the point to where you just lose sight of taking care of yourself, knowing what's important, prioritizing, and getting your daily stuff done. And once I came to that conclusion, I was able to ease myself out of the grieving to a point. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's only been 3 months. The grieving is still there, but it's not to that extreme. Um, um what else? Um, you know, most of I DJ. I ain't done that in a long time. Probably a year. Because it's been a lot. It's just been a lot, and it's kind of hard to get into a rhythm or into a groove or even have that excitement of one creating music, two playing the music, like I used to. It just ain't there right now, which I plan on getting it going. I plan on reaching that point again. It's not there at this moment. Um, you know, I be getting myself back out, you know, back out in public, just hang out with people, socialize rather than being here at home and just, living like a hermit, which, is nice sometimes, but, you know, at the same time, I'm like, what are you doing? It's like you're just wasting away. You can't do this. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's not. I wouldn't say it's not easy, but it's not as rough as it has been. Um, you know, I celebrated my mom's birthday, her 70th birthday, I believe, on the 23rd of April. She would have been 70. So, me, my dad, and my daughter went to her grave, and we laid some yellow roses on her grave site. Um, Wished her happy birthday. Mother's Day's coming up, so it's good. It's like everything at once. Um, but yeah, it's Mother's Day's coming up. Yeah. So, and this is part of why I'm doing these videos, these episodes, raw, unfiltered, uncut, just, you know, me in the moment, me just like, I got it. Let's do this, this will be my next episode. Because when I'm thinking of doing these episodes, I have this grand idea and then it never comes to fruition. And so, you know, I'm always talking about, getting a video, at least one video a week. And it's, apparently it's one every other week now. Um, but it's been difficult for me. Just trying to, put myself in a place to where I can do these videos and get a topic that I want to talk about and stay on and it be, something, um relevant to us men and us as fathers rather than me, being in a state of grieving over the loss of my mom. But this is the reality of life. What I want versus what's going to happen are two separate things, and you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is 2:33 in the morning, Friday morning. It's like officially this May 2nd, 2025, and I went out, I had a few drinks. You know, they had karaoke night. I didn't sing. I don't do karaoke. I hate karaoke, but there were some people who did really good, and I enjoyed. I had a good time. Um, and here I am. I'm home in the middle of the night again. My sleep issue that I'm trying to work on, and this is what happens when I allow myself to be up. On the weekends, and it just like it takes and takes and takes. It's like I gotta work myself back because I don't have that um discipline, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to um say, hey, it's 10 o'clock or it's 10:30. We need to get to bed. Some nights it's easy, it's just so easy, but the problem I have is if I'm taking a nap in the middle of the day, that's it. I'm done for. I'm up for the rest of the night. I can't get no sleep. Um, and that's where I'm at. That's just being honest. Um, so what am I doing for this weekend? Honestly, I don't know. I don't. My daughter's always asking me, "Hey, what are we doing this weekend?" It's like I don't know. I don't know. And this is Ohio, so I live in Ohio. So, and if you live in Ohio, you know it. The weather is warm, but it's been rain. We've had nothing but rain and storms on nice warm weather days. If the sun is shining, it's cold. So we either get sunshine with very cold weather or warm weather with storms and rain. It's like this is Ohio. We can't catch a break. And I'm putting money on that. My birthday is going to snow again, and it's just how Ohio weather works. You know. But so let me stop talking about all this. I just wanted to, more of like where I'm at. What I'm doing to get through this grieving process, and almost 3 months after, it's it's gonna take some time. I have friends telling me that, people I run into. I tell them my story. I tell them, hey, they're like, "Hey, how you been?" I just lost my mom, back in February. Oh man, I don't know. I lost my mom so many years ago, or I lost my dad so many years ago. Trust me, I get it. It just it doesn't go away. So, and I'm realizing that it's tough. It's tough. Um, you know, um, so I'm trying to find new shows to watch. Um, most of the shows I was watching, the seasons is ended for now. I'm waiting for The Boys to restart their next season. I'm excited about that. House of the Dragon. Waiting for season 3 because that's when all hell breaks loose. Um, what else? Reacher. I love that show. The movies with Tom Cruise was fun, but the show is just I don't know. The show just makes it that much more awesomer. um, I'm in the middle. Well, not the middle. I just started season 2 of Yellow Jackets. Uh, that show's fucked up. That's all I gotta say. I mean, it's hard to watch because it's like they're at the point to where they're just eating, the dead, and I'm like, dude, this is a bit much. Let me space these episodes out. It's probably been a good 2.5 weeks since I watched the last episode. Um, Mind you, I'm a person who enjoyed Terrifier 3. I seen it twice in the theater, but I can't get myself to watch Yellow Jackets, all the way through nonstop. So some of you are probably like, so wait, you have all this time, you're going through all this, you're doing all this, like, aren't you working? No, I am not working at the moment. Here's why. I am in the middle of getting guardianship of my daughter. And this is something I've been meaning to talk about. So, my daughter, back in 2012, had a major open heart surgery, 18-hour long. And her cardiologist is always on me, like, hey, get her to the dentist. She need, get her to the dentist. So, I got her to the dentist. The problem is, they won't work on my daughter. They won't clean her teeth. They won't do nothing because my daughter, one, is a special needs person. She can't make these important decisions by herself. Two, they need a piece of paper saying I am her legal guardian. So that's the biggest reason why. And if any of you have gone through legal guardianship of your child or anyone else, um, it's time consuming. This has definitely been time consuming. So I don't want to start a new job and have to, take all this time all off, like, just for this guardianship. So I got a background check I still have to get done. And once the her behavioral therapist gets back with the paperwork for that portion of the guardianship, then I can file the paperwork. Once I file the paperwork, then I gotta wait on a court date, and then the court date, whenever that is, um, and then the get her back to the dentist because they're going to do some work on her. So, um, I'm good with the time not working. I'm bored out of my mind at times, and I really want to be working, but I need to get this done, and it's important. And it's important for my daughter's health and her longevity because I don't want, whatever, I don't want nothing to happen to all the work they did back in 2012. Um, so I'm just I'm just here in limbo pretty much. I'm just waiting. So, not only did I lose my mom, I'm grieving at it. I'm in limbo on this guardianship. I'm waiting for it to all to get done and everything. And it's one thing after another. And that's where I'm at, you know. And I think, for those, who don't, you know, have to go through this process or have to, have a child or, a loved one where you have to have guardianship or uh, some kind of procedure that needs to be done, but you have to have a guardianship so you could be you know, the voice of reason per se. Um, you know, because my daughter's 21. Um, and that's why, because, she's an adult, but there's certain decisions she can't make by herself. Um, and that's pretty much where I'm at, just being honest. Um, how do I feel about the guardianship and all? I don't want to feel like my daughter has no say in anything. That's the only thing I hate, thinking about. But really, this is just more for like medical. And I wanted to do the medical version of it, but um, I guess everyone's telling me it's got to be the actual guardianship for her. So that's what I'm in the middle of. So that's pretty much it right now for me. Keep an eye on my dad, making sure he's good. Which, by the way, he retired to take care of my mom when she needed him most, and he's going back to work uh, here in a couple hours. He goes back to work again for the first time in about a year and a half. So proud of him. He needs something to keep himself occupied and keep his mind busy. Uh, that way he's not like me going stir crazy and, just trying to get things figured out. Being on the internet, making videos like, hey, this is what's been going on lately. But I don't mind making these because this is what it's all about, because, there's others like me who's going through something similar like me. So I just want to talk about it. So, if you're out there, it's like, hey, I get it. I've been there, or I'm going through the same thing. Hey, let me know. I mean, let me know what you think of these videos. Definitely like to, have, some of you, on one of these videos here and talk about your story. I mean, I can only talk about my story and, myself and my history, my past, my present, what I look for in the future for so long. So, and I'm putting in a plan, talking to some other people that I know who has a good story to tell. Um, I think y'all really enjoy. But, once again, my name is Dave. I thank you all so much for, watching these videos. Um, this isn't a woe is me type thing. This is more of like, I just want to talk about, what I've been through. It's like therapy for me. One, I don't see a therapist. I don't think I want to. So I do these videos instead. This is my therapy. This is like my therapist per se. Um, you know, and hopefully to get someone, others brave enough be like, or with the, say, hey, he gets it. He knows what I'm going through because he's going through it. Let's talk about this because I mean, and this is another topic. There's gonna be a day coming to where I'm gonna have a very, very unorthodox type topic of us men and why we should be men and not follow suit with like this whole movement and agenda of like masculinity and all that. There's nothing wrong with it. This is how we were born. God made us this way. We're perfect in God's eyes, so we shouldn't change. Unfortunately, you know society sees differently, but this is going to be for another day, for better, for worse, love me, hate me for it, but this is something I'm going to talk about, because I can't put my values aside to, coddle someone else's feelings, because no one's coddling my feelings. So, but I don't want no one to. That's just it. That's the whole purpose of this. I just want to talk about my life, you know, things that I know other men and fathers are going through. So that's the whole purpose, the broken dad, I'm trying to be a good dad to my daughter as a man, as a father, but I'm going through other things, I'm struggling, I'm suffering with things. I have my joys, I have my accomplishments, I have my, you know, hey, I did it right, but this is the whole part of the broken dad thing, I'm not perfect, I'm pieces of me just ain't there, that should be, because, I wasn't made to be perfect, parts of me still going to be broken until, you know, my father up above calls me home. But that's another topic. But I really appreciate y'all watching these videos. And if you do enjoy what you like and you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. How I can better my videos, because this is what, episode 6, and I have like one music video with Billy Joel that I'm enjoying too. It's I want to do more of those because it's light uh lighthearted. It's fun, it's like something that just brings the soul alive. So definitely want to do more of those. Please comment. Let me know what you think of these videos. I you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Trust me. I'm Gen X. I you know if you're not talking bad about my daughter, I think you could say anything else about me and I wouldn't care. You know, I ain't worried about you accepting my feelings and coddling my feelings. But y'all take care. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Again, my name is Dave Hodge, and thank you for watching another episode of The Broken Dad with Dave Hodge. Bye.